Hello, I'm Nelson Liu and welcome to Western Perspective. As WA lifts stage 3 of COVID-19 lockdown restrictions this weekend, many artists in the state are looking forward to starting their craft once again. Joanne Robertson is one of them. The local artist has transformed an art house in Fremantle to create a venue with a difference, but most importantly, to fit COVID-19 regulations. We take a look at how Joanne is bringing arts and entertainment to the new normal.
You have got an art background yourself.
That's
yourself are a visual artist?
I trained at the National College of Art and Design in Dublin. Yeah, I did a 5-year fine art degree and specialised in painting and drawing.
You came here and it opened up this space, knowing how important it is for the stories of a place to be told. Whether
Absolutely.
You're painting, whether you're drawing, whether you're doing poetry, whether you're writing plays, whatever, it's important for people to know their stories, isn't it?
Absolutely. And what I'm loving with the live music that we have at Kidogo, most of the people who perform here are singer-songwriters. They're writing their songs about their feelings and their response to where they're living or their relationships or their sense of place.
This place was humming before COVID, and then when COVID happened, what happened for you?
Well, I just built... Well, the whole thing had gone from literally, we had just pulled off the biggest, most successful exhibition of West Australian sculptors' artworks called Sculpture at Bathers. The amazing team of people, Tony Jones and a whole gang of well-known people in the arts, had invited 98 artists to exhibit all around the beach, through the gallery. This was full of sculpture. I think we had about 70,000 people come through the exhibition, and our final party was a great ceremonial burning of balgas and Aboriginal ceremony on the beach. It was a phenomenal night, and that was on the 2nd of March.
Gosh.
The same day, the last day of the Perth Festival was happening, and 100,000 people gathered for the Highway to Hell in tribute to Bon Scott, and it was amazing. And pretty well the next day, the world had changed. And within a few days, we needed to shut.
What's your response to that?
Well, it was, how do you... at that particular time, what I had was a group, lots of bookings for people to have very important things happening in their life. Marriages, 60th birthday parties, 40th birthday parties, 30th birthday parties, all sorts of different events.
So they were hiring this space?
They were hiring the space to have one of the most important celebrations of their life. And literally a day before, there was an announcement they couldn't gather. And so it was kind of traumatically trying to deal and help make decisions with people who had spent 2 years planning their beautiful wedding at Kidogo, and they were not going to be able to do it, and putting back their dates, all of us trying to work out what we could actually do. And it was hard to know until the announcement was made whether or not we should or shouldn't or whatever. So anyway, we needed to manage that. The first couple of weeks of COVID was literally just helping people crisis manage and, moving their wedding or moving their party. Before I could open, what I wanted to do was to recreate the ambience of what we know as Kelp Bar, which is a little room in the back studio that's full of stuff, which is normally private. It's my workspace. And I would open that every so often when I've got a concert on. And I've recreated it in the main gallery. We've got plants, we've got lots of vintage tables, none of the chairs match. I've got a very good 1968 Yamaha here. And then we put up a stage. All the artwork on the walls is by the South African photographer, and that was all lent to me by friends of mine who have Blue Peter in North Fremantle.
What can we look forward to in the future?
Well, what I'd like to do now going forward, I think this is working rather well, and I'd like to just continue this through the winter.
Artists starting out in a difficult time, what would you say to them? What advice could you give to them?
I have never waited to get a grant to do anything. What I've done is thought about an idea and then thought about the people that I know, or the people I know people who can help me make it happen. If you don't and you're in the arts, you ask advice of different people and you bring teams together to work on things. And I do that all the time. And a lot of the people who are helping me with the soirees are the musicians. You know, they're helping me with serving the food, and then they're playing another night. And do you know what I mean? Rather than so please, young people, go and meet as many people as you can, because that's how I got started.
And now, AMA-WA President Dr Andrew Miller provides a COVID-19 update.
Hi, well, it's been a good week cases-wise in WA, although a little disappointing. We haven't had any new veterinarians turn up to tell us how to run the COVID response. I did actually get quite a kick out of that last guy who came on the live sheep carrier, and I hope that he's okay. Never did get to hear whether his test was positive. In fact, I haven't heard whether my test positive either. I had it done 5 days ago, no result yet. Part of the DETECT trial for asymptomatic healthcare workers. And I'm continuing to be asymptomatic. Don't know whether to be more worried or less worried the more days that go by until I hear what the result is. Maybe they're trying to figure out whether it was really a human sample or not. But it was a pretty thorough sampling, I can tell you that. Day 2 of the phase 3, I think that people just think we're going back to normal. They think that we're just headed back to 2019 from what I can see down at the shops, which means that we're not ready yet to open borders. We need to rejig people's thinking. They've got to understand that when you're in crowds where you can't socially distance like in the shops, going to have to start wearing masks, going to have to be more careful with hand hygiene. I didn't see anyone doing it as they were walking around. We can get away with this while we have no community spread. We can get away with it while we have nothing in the way of cases turning up to hospital, but we're not going to be able to keep this down forever. We're going to get outbreaks. It's going to happen. There's still a lot of people coming in for work or other reasons, compassionate reasons right now. And when we see these outbreaks, at the moment I can say the community's not ready. The protests were very important. Black Lives Matter. It's a very important issue. However, we have to be able to protest in a way that is also COVID safe. So to the people that wore masks and stayed away from other people who used hand hygiene, yep, that's the way to go about it and still make your point. And we're going to have to do that in relation to everything else we do. So the businesses that rely on big crowds being packed in together for your profitability, we need to have a long, strong talk about how is that going to work going forward. Because while we don't have a cure, while we don't have a vaccine, we are going to have to just accept that society has to change. This is not fake. It's not something that only happens in America, only happens in the UK and all of those other countries. The number of cases around the world still skyrocketing upwards. We're winning in WA because of our isolation. We're winning because of our travel restrictions and because of the quarantine on people that come in. But as we know from our obviously very important football teams, we don't win forever. So let's have a good conversation as a community about how we're going to change things so we can survive alongside this virus, keep the outbreaks to a minimum, keep as many people healthy and alive as possible, and that will also be the best way to keep our economy healthy and alive. Have a great week.
And that's all for this week. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again next time, but for now, it's back to you, Ivan and Sarah.
Thank you, Nelson. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website and social media pages.
No matter where you're watching, look after yourself, stay at home and have a pleasant evening.
Take care.